Hello and good evening. Thank you for being here with me today. My name is Jen. Namaste. This evening is going to be about releasing our psoas muscle and tight tissue around the psoas. So there's also the psoas fascia. So it's a connective muscle that runs from, I'm actually going to read from the Key Muscles of Yoga book. Okay, I'm just going to read you this little small paragraph explaining exactly what the muscle does. It's the iliopsoas, and that means that it crosses over and moves more than one joint. The iliopsoas acts like a pulley as it curves over the front rim of the pelvis on its way to the femur, to the thigh bone. Like other pulley systems, this serves to multiply the force generated when the iliopsoas contracts. The iliopsoas thus moves the bones of the lower back, pelvis, and hip in a coupled fashion. This means that when it contracts, a combination of movements across several joints is possible. So it's a very important muscle, and it's also connected to our central nervous system. All right, so it's connected to even our emotions. All right, it's a biointelligent tissue, if you can imagine that. So we're going to get in touch with that psoas muscle, and it does come from our low back down through the pelvis, the front side of the pelvis, and then into that femur. So if you can imagine, tight hips and this whole like front side has a lot to do with the psoas muscle being tight. And having stiffness, it can actually become kind of a dry, dull muscle, but we want to connect to that and release it. Okay, so that's what this Yin Yoga practice is going to be for. Okay, that's what it's going to help with. So we want to find our seat, and also with this video, you're going to need either a folding chair or something, a wall, so you can bring your legs up the wall. What we're going to do, but we're going to do a modified legs up the wall posture by bringing our legs up to a chair. So it's going to look like this. We want our legs supported by any kind of a chair, a folding chair. I am going to use 2 yoga blocks and a bolster, so you could use that as well, okay, to make my own little table or chair to rest my legs and feet on. Okay, so just so you know, we're going to begin sitting up nice and tall, settling into our sitting bones, softening the shoulders down away from the ears, bringing our awareness to our spine, to the belly, to the low back, to our hips, to our knees, and just checking in of any areas of tension or tightness, any areas we may begin to soften and let go of. And let's take a few deep breaths through the nose and open up the mouth. Audible exhalation. Inhale. Once more through the nose. Exhale. Empty fully. Inhale. Exhale. Releasing our day. Oxygenating and softening the muscles and tissues of the body. And take as many of those deep cleansing breaths through the nose and out through the mouth as you would like to. Otherwise, we're going to begin to seal the lips and move the breath in through the mouth and back out through, in through the nose and back out through the nose for the rest of the practice. Okay, maybe settling in on an intention that you have: softness, surrender, ease, peace, joy, grace. All right, so we are going to come up actually to our hands and knees and tabletop first. And just move the pelvis around by some cat-cow. So spreading the fingers wide, shoulder over the wrist, hips are over the knees are hip width apart. We're going to inhale, drop the belly, and gaze up. Exhale, rounding out the spine like a cat. Moving the spine around. We are beginning to stretch the psoas in that low back where it starts, where it begins. Contracting it when we tilt the pelvis down and gaze up. Inhale, exhale. Round, stretching it out. So you can send your hips from side to side. You can make a circle shape with your hips, drawing them from side to side. Maybe you draw the shoulders forward, drawing a full circle shape. So checking in with this low back region. And then we're going to just take one downward facing dog, okay? So tucking the toes, lifting those feet up and back, gently pedaling out the feet, bending one knee and straightening the opposite leg, just to check in with the whole back side of the body. So the psoas starts on the back side, then it wraps around to the front. So we're going to work both sides. Take as many breaths here as you need. Inhale and exhale through the nose, or empty out through the mouth. When we exhale out of the mouth, it is detoxifying and cleansing. But when we breathe through the nose, in through the nose and back out through the nose, it gives us a little bit more energy. So from the down dog, we're going to step our right foot up in between our hands at the top of the mat. We're coming to our grounded crescent lunge, crescent warrior. So right knee is just above the right ankle as we sink heavy into our hips. So we are working that front side of the thigh, our outer hips. So really getting into that psoas fascia here in the psoas muscle. So we're going to stay here for a good amount of breaths. You can just rest your hands on your knees if you want to as you sit up nice and tall, or bring the elbows up with the ears. Palms would face each other or they can touch. You want to sink a little bit into a back bend, bringing the elbows back with the ears. Or hands could simply go to prayer position in front of the heart. You could bring your arms out to a T, pressing your palms away from you to broaden through the chest. You could find some movement here. You could find micro movement. You could flip the palms away from you. Sternum reaching up. I find that sometimes finding some upper body movement distracts from the lower body sensations. All right, so just keep breathing. Nice and steady. Inhale through the nose. So as we fully inhale, we fill the diaphragm in the deep low belly, and it actually is helping to massage that top part of the psoas muscle here as it comes around the front side of the pelvis. Okay, so think really full, long, deep breaths. Fill, 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 expand. Feel the belly expanding. Exhale. Belly draws in, sink a little bit lower, a little bit deeper. Softening that fascia, which is the connective tissue of the psoas muscle. A deep layer of tissue wrapping around it. So that's why we have to be here for at least a full minute. Who's counting? Just keep breathing. We're going to come back to this, but we're going to release for a moment and take a forward fold, a half splits forward fold. So just straighten that front right leg to counterpose this out as we are strengthening our right side. Inhale, peek forward, lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold forward, chest to thigh or chin to shin, or knee to nose. Drawing that right hip bone back, Hips are nice and squared. We want to soften the face and release the jaw. The hips and jaw are connected. Keep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. You can find any micro movement here. You could point the toe. Flex the foot. Stretching out the ankles, the shins, the fascia in the feet. All that connective tissue in there. A few more breaths here. Nice and easy, slowly coming out of it. Cat-cow, tabletop. Right knee meets left. Hands and knees. Take around a cat-cow. Drop the belly, gaze up. Open the throat, lift the chest and heart. Exhale. Round. Like a cat. Move your spine around. Belly draws in and up. Left side. So you can go from your down dog if you want to, or from your tabletop. We're just stepping left foot up in between the hands at the top of the mat, going back to our grounded crescent warrior. So left knee over left ankle, that's very important, protecting the knee joint, finding stability in the legs. We're on the top side of the back foot, sinking into our lunge, heavy in the hips. Some people might prefer to heel toe this left foot out to the left slightly. So just feel what's best for you. We want to get the foot up there in between the hands. Some people prefer it closer to the left hand because we're on the left side. That makes sense. So it's up to you where the foot goes, okay, where the foot feels best for your hips. So finding the same upper body movement here, or stillness and ease. And if this is too much, I didn't mention it, you can support yourself here with 2 blocks. So it would look like this. And it might be different on each side. One side might be harder or easier than the other. So bringing the earth closer to your hands, closer to you by placing these 2 blocks beside the left foot. They would be shoulder width apart. And it's just a little bit of support, okay? Otherwise, you can keep the hands in prayer, elbows coming up at the ears. You can turn this into a back bend. Palms would touch, sternum is lifting up. Just keep breathing, letting go, detoxifying, softening the tissue around that front psoas muscle in the hip, in the pelvis. So we don't realize it, but this muscle can hold tension and tightness and actually cause pelvic pain and lower back pain. It can contribute to that. So we usually don't think, oh, I have a tight psoas muscle, so that's why I have pelvic pain, right? But this is definitely could help with it, especially with the low back. The tension in the low back. So just keep breathing, keep softening around the intensity there in that right femur. Enjoying the sun setting soon. A few more breaths here on this side. And then counterposing this into our half splits forward fold. And you can keep the blocks here as well, or let them go and just take that forward fold over your front left straight leg, chest to thigh, or chin towards shin. Drawing the left hip bone back. The pelvis is squared. Belly draws in and up. Peek forward, lengthen, extend. Exhale. Empty and fold. Keep releasing, keep breathing, keep softening. And letting go to the tightness and the stiffness in the joints, the tissues surrounding the joints. Couple more breaths. And release, hands and knees tabletop or down dog. Happy cow, swing those hips from side to side or gently pedaling out the feet, bending one knee and straightening the opposite leg. All right. So we're going to continue to work on the psoas muscle. If you have two blocks, that would be very handy. We don't have to have them because there's options without them, but they're nice to have, okay? So we're going to go into a camel pose to really stretch and lengthen this whole front side, okay? Front side of the body, muscles and tissues. The main muscle is the psoas muscle, okay? So we're going to start in half camel. So we would bring our blocks next to our ankles, outside of the ankle or foot. And we're going to bring our left hand to our right hip, starting on the right side. And the right hand is going to reach up to the sky, elbow with the ear. And our knees are only hip width apart. So you could bring a block in between the thighs to adjust yourself so you know where the knees and legs should be. The feet, we're on the top sides of the feet. Some people prefer to tuck the toes. And if you don't have blocks, it might be easier for you to tuck the toes here. Okay? Otherwise, the top sides of the feet. Knees are drawing in towards that center line. So you're squeezing the block or pretending you're squeezing a block there. So left hand, left hip. That right arm reaches up and then the right hand reaches back for our right heel. Ankle or block. Okay? So we can take our block and bring our hand back to the block as we send the hips and pelvis forward. Sternum goes up, send the hips and pelvis forward. Okay, so you can stay here in half camel or full camel. This left arm reaches up and back for the same ankle or block as we send those, simultaneously sending the hips and pelvis forward. And then letting the head hang back. Okay, but squeezing the block might help a lot. So it's nice to be supported because we are here for at least 30 seconds on each side. Okay, so or you can choose to be in full camel. Otherwise, half camel, reaching the fingertips back, or the hand can stay on the hip, or it can even support the low back. opening up the chest further. Just keep breathing, letting go, keeping the knees only hip width apart. And then we're going to come on down to a child's pose, all right? And then we'll switch sides, or we're going to go back to it. So knees and feet touch, they come together, forehead drops down to the mat. You can walk the fingertips forward, extending your child's pose, or bring the arms by your sides with the palms facing up to the sky. And just take some restorative rest. Breathing, filling the back side of the body, continuing to fill the diaphragm, massaging that psoas muscle as it fills up with air, with breath. So our breath is oxygen, but it's also giving us life. So life force energy. Imagine we're filling our psoas with more life force energy as we inhale. And taking your time when you're ready, you can stay in child's pose longer if you need to. It is a very energizing back bend, so you may need to take a little bit more rest just to counterpose that. And we're going to go back into our camel or half camel on the other side. Coming up to the knees, planting the feet, top sides of the feet on the mat. Said or option to tuck your toes if you don't have a prop, a block. So we're going to go opposite side. So right hand, right hip, left arm. I think I started on the right. So we're left hand this time. Left hand, left hip. Right arm reaches up and back. And then we bring this left hand to our ankle or block. Drawing the knees in towards the center line. Coming back into your full camel. So actively sending the hips and pelvis forward and the sternum up to the sky. And keep breathing, expanding, lengthening, inhaling and exhaling. You can let the head hang back and let the head be heavy. You don't want any strain or stress in the neck. Letting go of tension or tightness, finding more ease and grace in the body, in the mind, and in the heart, and in our psoas muscle and tissue of the body. So we're strengthening as well. Stretching, lengthening, and strengthening. Unlocking it. A few more breaths. And then gently, slowly, kindly coming back to a child's pose. To counter pose it up. Maybe you'll choose to open up the knees a little wider this time. Sending the hips back. constructive rest, restorative rest. Emotions may arise. We want to be with them, acknowledge them, and eventually release them, right? So you can hang on to, I'm sure you've heard of emotions being stored in the hips. Well, the psoas is part of that. So definitely, as it is part of our central nervous system. A few more breaths here in child's pose, in a resting pose. And then we're going to come on up, rising up to pigeon. So I'm going to start on the left side. You can go transition to down dog if you want to. Any transitional posture. All right, so for pigeon, we are going to bring the left shin forward as parallel to the front edge of the mat as we can. Go. And we want to keep our hips squared off. So the hip bones are pointed forward. The pelvis is kind of gently lifting up, slightly lifting up. Okay, we're on the top side of that back foot, extending the spine, lengthening through the front side. So we're going to inhale, reach up. Exhale, we're going to forward fold. So we're now working on the outer hip, okay, a little different part of the psoas, which connects to the glute and the low back, all right? You can modify this by bringing a block underneath the left hip, if it's just really tight, or the leg really wants to hug underneath you. We want to kind of heel toe that shin out a little bit, but we can also prop it up, that left hip up. This block is a little too big for me. I would probably need a smaller block, a shorter block, but anyway, you can lift this left hip bone up, the thigh up to elevate the hips a little bit more to keep them in the same line. And then we're just going to gently forward fold. So dropping down to the forearms, the forehead, or you could bring the forehead to a block or any support of choice. And just breathe here, be here. Our mind follows the breath. So we bring our awareness to this present moment as we inhale. Consciously through the nose. And maybe take another detoxifying, cleansing breath from the mouth. Truly letting something go. Letting tension dissipate. Inviting in softness, ease, and grace. You could also drop down to the shoulder, dropping that right shoulder down to the mat and walking the left fingertips forward. You can play around with the upper body, with the arms if you want to. This is intensifying the stretch, the opening. The lengthening of the fascia in there. The longer we hold these poses, the more we begin to hydrate the tissues. Okay, so just imagine we are kind of unsticking things There's also a bind. Your left hand could reach around for your left big toe. The peace fingers would bind the big toe. Lots going on here. This is a dynamic pose. Pigeon pose. A few more breaths on this side. Easing the mind, softening the body. Knowing everything's going to be okay. Keep letting go. We'll slowly come out of it, releasing to a seated forward fold. We're going to gently straighten both legs out in front of us. Maybe shake the legs out a little bit. You can shake them out, roll them out, rocking them from side to side if you want to, if that feels good, just to release the legs a little bit. It's good for the lymph flow. And then one seated forward fold. Inhale, reach both arms up to the sky. Exhale, hinge and fold forward, reaching for your ankles, shins. You can even bring a block here behind the feet. The ants are attacking me. That's okay. And then this is just a transitional pose, okay, to transition to the, so counterposing to our other side, transitioning to the other side, pigeon on the right. We started on the left, moving to the right. So the right shin goes forward, parallel to the front edge of the mat. Inhale, exhale, hinging and folding forward. Same thing on the opposite side. Find your way. Support yourself with a prop, a block, or maybe dropping down to that opposite shoulder this time. Be left shoulder and then walking the right. If that feels good, or if you're ready for it, but you may need to release the tightness first. So I think there's an ant colony under the mat. Close to the mat anyway. Likes the mat. Ahimsa, non-harming. I don't want to harm the ants, but they are kind of harming me because they're biting me. Keep letting go. Keep softening even deeper on the exhale. Inhale, massaging that inner psoas muscle. So please stay here for the same amount of time as you did on the other side, which is approximately a minute. Okay, 45 seconds. We want to be in these yin poses for at least 45 seconds to release the fascia. So 5 days a week is supposed to make a really big difference. All right, so we want to do this regularly. Not just one time. It's not a one-time stretch and fix your psoas muscle, okay, or release all your fascia. So we want to do this on a regular basis, especially when our hips feel tight, when our low back feels tight, right? If we ever have any pelvic pain, we want to come back to the psoas muscle. Remember, we are also calming the central nervous system, as it does communicate with the entire body. So helping with anxiety, stress hormones, cortisol levels, just helping us to feel calmer through our day when we have a nourished, functioning psoas muscle, high functioning psoas muscle that's not too tight or overused and abused. We want to take care of it. Most people have tight hips. Most people have tight psoas muscles. And a lot of people have lower back pain. So this is definitely a contributing factor. Keep breathing here. Letting go, softening, deeper, surrendering to gravity. Gravity's doing the work here. So we're getting into that outer right side, and then we're also getting into this left front side. So dynamic, multiple things, lots of things going on here in our pigeon pose. Breathing, melting into it. Once again, softening and just giving the body to release those tight muscles. Releasing the fascia even, because that begins to tighten up and lock up around the muscle. So we want ease and flow in all of it in there. If you need to stay longer, like I said, please stay as long as you feel like you need to. Our next posture is going to use that chair or the props here, the blocks and the bolster, making our own little table stand. So, or you could just bring your legs up the wall. You can utilize the wall as a different form of this pose, okay? But we are going to bring our sitting bones as close to that chair, the legs of the chair, as possible. And then we're just going to simply rest our legs on top of it. So resting the calves, we want to kind of hug the knees in as close as we can get them. Or you can have your legs straightened up the wall like this, bringing your sitting bones as close to the wall as possible. Okay. And once again, gravity is doing the work here. Really allowing these muscle groups to relax. A little micro adjustment could be lifting your chin up to the sky slightly to keep the heart space nice and open here. So lengthening through the chest, softening the chest, the shoulder muscles. the upper back and neck. Keep breathing. Keep oxygenating and massaging as we fully fill. We're actually massaging all of our internal organs and tissues, but especially here, we're on this right now, we're focusing on the psoas, so that the diaphragm, massaging the psoas, which goes along the hip, starting along the front side of the pelvis. Well, it starts in the low back. It wraps around, multifunctional muscle, starting the low back, wrapping around the hip through the front side of the pelvis, and then going down the femur. So just imagine that. Bring your awareness and your concentration there. And let it begin to soften. And our knees are ideally about hip width apart. They can be a little bit wider if it feels more comfortable. You can play around with what feels best for you. Calming the central nervous system. Calming the brain. Tissues surrounding the brain. Yeah, Katie, what are you doing? So stay here for as long as you need, as long as you would like. Remember, minimum 45 seconds, okay, if you're timing yourself, but you can stay up to 5 minutes. Okay, you're just going to get more and more benefit from it, helping your sleep, right? Keeping you nice and calm and giving you more ease in your body. Ease and grace. Thank you so much for practicing here with me today. Once again, my name is Jen. This is Yoga Namaste. Please check out some of the other videos if you're interested and you like this Yin Yoga practice, fascia release. It is very important. So please check out some of my other videos if you would like. I would always like to hear from you, of course, right? If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please do let me know. So I'm going to say, just stay right here for the rest, of your evening, however long you would like. Otherwise, I'm going to just finish up in windshield wipering out the knees, gently dropping them from side to side. So we just open up the knees and feet wide and just drop them from side to side. And then you're welcome to finish up in Shavasana, corpse pose, just lying comfortably down on your mat. Taking rest, constructive rest. The mind and the body need it. So Shavasana, right foot goes to the right corner, left foot to the left corner, arms go out by the sides with our palms facing up to the sky. Being open to receive